Oh, greetings, YouTube model people. How's it going? Okay, coming at you here with a final video, or almost a finally video for this model project. This was the Corona 500 group build hosted by the great Fred Henry Pappy. And thank you, Pappy, for hosting this build. Very cool idea for a group build. Basically, a build a kit of a race car driven by a driver that is no longer with us. And so I chose the Folgers number 25 car driven by the great Tim Richmond. And for some reason, I don't know why, I always liked the decal scheme on this car. And as it turns out, I also like the chili kind of red, dark red color. I think that's a sharp color. And for somehow and some reason, I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I actually drink Folgers coffee here at the house. So quite fitting. And the era of the car is perfect too. I love the body styling of these NASCARs back in what is basically the early 80s. I guess early to mid 80s maybe. So yeah, so this was why I picked this. Some of the reasons I picked this kit out. So we could write a book with this one, folks. We had a lot of problems with this build. I don't know why, to tell you the truth. I was in no rush to do it. I was just going along. These kits normally go together very well. Um, it's just, I don't know why. I just hit a lot of issues, all mostly self-inflicted problems, just being a little careless. So we're going to get going on them, and we'll list them along as we go here. So here's the final. Um, it has a ton of problems. Honestly, it's amazing how bad the overall result finally did come out. But we'll talk about the first major problem I had. I did the whole interior first, and that went together very, very well. All the roll cage and all that stuff, and it was looking good. And even the dashboard came out really good, like probably the best NASCAR dashboard I ever did before. So that was looking really sharp. Then we moved on to the body, and that's where the problems started. This basically goes here, yeah. So, or supposed to go there, but what happened is as I was cleaning off, they actually have a cross member of plastic here to keep things sort of aligned, which is kind of funny because these kits are always warped from this error in this line for some reason. And while cleaning up the little edges, I ended up going a little too aggressive, and this plastic's very brittle, and it just snapped this front part right off the car. So disaster strikes right from the start on the body part. Now, this is something I used to do in the early 2000s when I started getting back into modeling. I did a lot of civilian vehicles, and if something like this happened, or if I had problems with, whatever, I would go and get another kit. I don't like to do that, but I did. I went and bought a second kit, clearly, um, and here it is. So, basically, the next problem we had, once we got our new kit, our new body in, which is this, we were ready to go for paint. And we had the perfect color, a dark red in the stash, tester's paint. And as luck would have it, the paint was no good. And it wasn't the day because it was a perfectly dry, warm, sunny day. It was perfect for painting. And I tried using the paint a couple times on different things, and it was exactly the same result. It all bubbled up on this body for some reason, mostly here, mostly the front hood. So now we had a mess with paint. So off to the stripping, paint off, and all that good stuff had to take place after that. Um, so going around to getting ready to paint it again, I decided or made the executive decision that I wasn't going to do that. The kit plastic itself, molded color, is the perfect color, and it actually was in very good shape. So I opted to polish the plastic and clear coat it, and it came out really good. So I was very happy with that because I only did that one other time for one other project ever. So I was quite pleased with the results. I figured, okay, we made the turn of all the issues, and we should be good to go. Well, then we come along to decals. Now, the original decals in this kit basically were very yellowed, and I did bleach them out, but I was definitely worried that they would give me a problem. So I went on eBay and got myself an aftermarket set of decals, which are these here. Um, and it was delivered by the post office here, and the carrier for that day did not take very good care during a basically torrential downpour. And the envelope that was very well packaged by the person who sent them got wet, and this whole top section of decals were no good. And also another part of this decal sheet, I forget, I think it was up toward the top, sorry guys, up toward the top here somewhere, was no good. So there we go with that. First issue with decals was that some of them were no good, and we were going to be forced to use some of the original decals. Anyway, so we did, and we had decaling issues mainly with this 25. Again, self-inflicted, I think, because it was on there pretty good, and then I started getting crazy with the Microsol, Microset, and Micromark. And you can see all this bubbling along the edge here, and then even when trying to straighten it out, I tore a piece of the white off there. So yeah, definitely not good. But luckily, I still have, because I had gotten a second kit, I have a set of decals, but these are yellowed, as you can see, compared to this, the 25, right? So basically, we're going to bleach these out in the sun. It's going to take a little while to do that, especially this time of year. But we're going to do that, and then I am going to pull off and redo this 25, because that's just awful. I mean, even though this rest of this kit's pretty rough, that's particularly bad. So when we do that and we replace that, I will show you a quick final on that. So basically that was it with the decal issues. I'll go on to a final issue I had, which was the body just before decaling. Was these kits are infamous for being slightly warped, and for whatever reason, all of them are like that. These Monogram NASCAR kits in the early 80s. So I tried for the first time putting this in boiling water, which was a Fast Jimmy tip, and I followed it to a T, and it seemed to work very well. The problem is I wasn't paying enough attention, I guess, when doing my reshaping. When reshaping the body and taking out the warp, which actually worked very good, this part in the front on both sides ended up getting really bent in. So much so, there was no way you were going to fit the bumper on there. And it was not going to be easy to bring back to where it belonged. So, or was originally set. So we had a problem with that. When we had that problem, I thought this project was going to take a huge turn. And basically I was going to make it wrecked against the wall, and make like it hit the wall, and then spun out and kind of sitting there with pieces laying on the track and all that stuff. That was the direction I was going. But eventually I just used a little extra patience and was able to somehow glue one side at a time of the front bumper to the front here. And that seemed to work, and we got it to where it is now. So that's basically it, folks. Sorry for the long dragged on story, but I want you to just want to point out some things, because I rarely point out issues that I've experienced with kits, and what mainly, as I said, this was mostly self-inflicted problems. It had very little to do with the kit itself. So if you're going to do this kit, definitely be careful about the warping, as we say, with the bodies. That's definitely something you'll see. And the decal set, I would absolutely say get an aftermarket decal set to go with this, because your original decals are going to give you some trouble. So that's basically it. Thanks again, Fred, for hosting the build, and that's it, folks. All right, cheers.